cultures, viral voice, algorithm, content, step, travel, innovation, brand, tech.
What the forge? Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the WTF podcast. I'm Thomasin.
I'm Adikemi.
Today's episode, we're talking about something that is very personal to me as somebody who builds budgets for brands. The influencer is dead.
You're so extra.
I know. Long live the creator, though. The influencer era, their whole system is broken. Sending me 10 million naira for 5 minutes of content is stressing me out. Let me not lie.
Listen, I just recently dealt with this, and honestly, I feel you. I get what you're saying. So one thing I would like to say is I appreciate that it is someone's bread and butter. I appreciate that.
Of course.
But I think what I'm really looking for is I'll pay you this amount of money, you do the content, but am I really getting what it is that I'm asking you for? That's the most important part. Where's the conversion?
Where's the conversion is the question. Like, brands have spent so many years buying reach. They're looking for big numbers, expensive rate cards, borrowed audiences. But I think that times are changing right now. I think it's not necessarily the death of people-driven marketing, but it's more about the rise of trust in the creator, right? It's more about keeping the attention, and it's more about the quality of what people are talking about now. So people don't just care whether you have big numbers; they care about what you're actually talking about.
Because your big numbers can also just be bought.
That's exactly.
What exactly are you? So you have like 500,000 followers, okay, but maybe 400,000 of those are actually just robots. So what exactly am I doing? Paying you 50 million naira to post my brand and then promote it?
I know of a brand that I worked with once that they wanted to do a campaign. They found an influencer they liked, a very big influencer, big following. They said, okay, let's do a sponsored post with this person, and they are looking to generate sales. This brand spent a total of maybe I would just say a budget number of 8 million naira on the entire campaign and did not see one sale.
That's crazy.
They didn't see one sale.
That's just crazy.
They gave us a lot of the products, no doubt, of course, as part of their PR, but they didn't see one sale. And of course, they went back to the agency. All the influencers that we gave you money for, what did they do with them? And then the influencer is like, well, I posted.
And then it gets blamed on either the brand's products or something else.
So what's happening today is that this is entirely going out the window. Everybody's waking up. Not just the brands, but the audiences as well. They're waking up. People are like, yesterday this one posted something with this car company. This one with soap company today. Tomorrow is one food company. Like, what's going on here? Do I trust you, or are you just a bot for brands?
Listen, that's the thing. Even with influencers, yes, there are brands that may approach you, but it's also a thing of understanding your personal brand and partnering with brands that you can see yourself using their products every day or using their services every day. It's not just about who exactly has the biggest check and is willing to pay. And the same thing with brands. It's who can I see? Can I see this person? Does this person embody my brand? Or is there any way that further down the line, this person can actually embody my brand? Because it's all about that entry market. So yes, this person has a huge following. They seem like they have some aspects of what it is that I'm looking for, but we just need to tap into it a bit more. So then you partner with that brand, with that influencer, or the influencer partners with that brand. That symbiotic relationship. Not that it's just, I see this person has so many followers, let me just go and give them money.
Give them my money.
And then it's also a thing about listening to people. It's not just about the high numbers. It's not just about the high numbers.
It's about actually gauging that the patterns don't lie.
Yeah.
Like it's about what has this person shown over time. I think one thing as well that has really affected this is globally, audiences are now very open to calling out their faves or your
Yeah.
faves. Like we have seen, I don't want to call names, but we've seen even the Nigerian version of this as well, when an influencer has posted all those different skincare restaurants, kinikon. You kind of unfollow them or stop believing in what they are doing anyway.
Because
so
where are you exactly?
Where are
You're just
you?
all over the place.
Audiences are now waking up as well. And I think the global part of that, or like people also seeing that other people outside are also calling out their faves, has also made us in Nigeria more willing and more ready to kind of pull up people and say, this person people are always giving money to, do they actually stand for this? Do they actually believe in what they're saying? Or are they just collecting a check?
Exactly.
All the time. And I think that's not necessarily on the influencer. And this is in no way a conversation to bash any influencers or the influencer work.
We're not bashing
but it's
anyone.
more about the brands and how they think about their about their marketing strategies, right? In Lagos, there's a very specific problem, and that this pattern is even more compressed. The market follows who has the most followers, right? And if you think back to like Dirty December and our Dirty December episode, you'll see that even some of the brands in Lagos that come into the market, they had zero retention. Why? Because they are chasing Dirty December. That's how many days in the whole of the whole of the ecosystem of Nigeria and of Lagos specifically. Like the problem we have in Lagos, and I don't want to speak for Nigeria as a whole, but in Lagos specifically, is that the brands here chase what's hot, trending now, and they don't think long term. They don't think about their audiences, and they don't think that their audiences are smart enough to call them out. That, I think, is a massive problem that brands need to start being more aware of and start taking into consideration.
I definitely agree. I feel like you need to be, it's just all about the intentionality. Like, especially with Gen Zs now, Gen Zs are changing the purchasing, what's the word? Purchasing habits. So, and they, they love to be involved in your brand growth. They love to see the behind the scenes. They will do all that research. Like if you partner with this person, they will do all that research. And if you're bullshitting them, they will call you out online. And before you know it, your brand value has gone down. And God forbid that you're just starting out, you're actually just going to not really be able to take off until you go into crisis management and all of that. So, you just need to be very intentional. And again, like we said, we're not calling out, we're not bashing influencers. Like, this is not for every single person. I remember I saw one video. It's, is it a View Farm or something like that, where it's just bare phones and laptops and tablets that are just playing the exact same streaming farms. They're just playing the exact same videos on YouTube. And I'm like, so if I now say, there's obviously somebody behind that, they'll say, oh, this person is an influencer, I can get you this amount of, but the conversion is fake. Because if I'm getting all this engagement, all these views, I should expect to see that generating sales and things like that, but I'm actually not getting any of that. So really and truly, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Okay, so you have all these large influencers, with the large following. That's all well and good. Just ensure that there's brand alignment. But then I feel like don't sleep on those with the smaller following as well, because imagine that budget that you have for maybe two larger following influencers, and you spread that across about 100 or so smaller influencers. You have so many people talking about your brand. You're getting it there. You're getting it out there. By the time you combine all the followers that they have, all the views, all the engagements, is probably going to be a lot more than what you would get from those same two people, and you spread out your money accordingly. So I think that's just very important. And again, TF is here to help you. Really
Absolutely.
And truly.
But even just to drive it home, it's not like we're saying that influencers are not necessary. They are. The conversation is still around. We're moving away from the influencer side to the creator side of things. So influencers, they drive awareness, whereas creators drive a different type of awareness. They drive a connection. And I'll give you examples of big influencers that I feel definitely drive connection. They're influencers, but to me, they sit more on the creator scale of today. Tauma. Everybody knows Tauma. Tauma has her own very specific brand of funny. She's consistent in her world. Her characters are the same. They don't change. She blends her real world, her real world with her characters and makes it extremely seamless. That's creator work. That's not influencer work.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, oh, you gave her a product and she's just coming and she's being a different character today. It's real. She makes it real. Organic. Contrast that with somebody who just does a flat lay of a product that you give me and says, oh, this is the post that I'm posting. Brother Shaggy, somebody as well that many brands work with. Trust me, in Brother Shaggy's real normal life, even when he's talking, the way he brings up those brands as well, you can tell that it moves out of being just an influencer to being a creator. And I think that's just where the connection just needs to be made, is that yes, being an influencer is great, and that was great up until maybe last year, just being an influencer. But now you kind of have to add that extra definition and move out of influencing to creating communities, which is kind of what a creator is. A creator doesn't just influence people. He helps them to understand. He's relatable with them. He brings whatever product or service into the real world.
Yeah, like Lai and
exactly.
EO. I think EO just won AMVCA Digital Creator of the Year. And listen, the first time I came across his page, I saw it and I was like, who is this person? So I went and I was just watching. Before you know it, like probably an hour had gone by, I was just watching everything. He's so funny.
He's great.
And he does do it all partnerships with maybe like real estate agencies or like, showing listings and things like that. I believe. Don't quote me, but I believe that's it. But yeah, like it's just the way he presents that to his audience. It makes so much sense.
Absolutely. And also like you said, he just won an AMVCA. Like, I know that there's this creator as well, Mark Angel. Somebody somewhere, and do not quote me on this, I just read it online, but someone said the guy makes over $300K from his content on YouTube monthly.
Mad.
And I'm like, what? Is that even real? Trust me, I didn't go and do any research on this to find out, but I just read it today and I was like, that's so interesting. But I think if you call that kind of person an influencer, you are wrong. That's a business. That's a media house.
That is a full media house.
Right?
Sometimes I wish I could be a content creator, but I don't have the discipline. Let me not lie.
Don't worry. With TF, we'll make it work.
Okay, so our analogy for today. Influence is a loan, credibility is equity. A big following is borrowed attention. You can spend it once for your campaign launch moment or a 48-hour spike in awareness. But if there's no genuine trust underneath it, the account is empty. You borrowed it, you give it back.
Facts.
A creator who builds community owns equity. Their audience shows up without a brand deal triggering it. Their recommendation carries weight because it's consistent with everything else they stand for. That equity compounds. Every piece of content they've ever made is still earning trust. That's a fundamentally different asset. The question brands should be asking isn't how big is their following. It's what do their followers actually believe about them. So in other words, their followers can smell when something is off from a mile away.
A mile away.
So just to bring this to a close, when you are looking for your influencer as a brand and influencers, when you are looking at brands to partner with, ensure that there is actual brand alignment there. If not, it's not going to go well for either one of you, and both of you are going to be pointing the finger at each other, and then that's just like a huge amount of money
And
wasted.
the audience does not care.
The audience does not care. So you have missed out on a large sum. You have missed out on probably a better way to even collaborate, and you have missed out on the potential conversion that could have come from maybe if you went with a different person or with
worked with
multiple people on a smaller scale. So come to TF. We would help you. You know, I'm always going to push that. Come here, just come here, and we would help you sort all that out.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.